I'm Davis Irano, the gondolier. What is your destination? I can also help with local information. Do you need services? Are you looking for some specific place? Or for someone in particular? By the three, my right. Do you want something?
What is it, pest?
How do I know you're not up to something devious?
If you're here for small talk, move along.
If you're here for a chit-chat, move along. If it's sightseeing you want, the east side has little to offer. The Fighters' Guild and the Grand Chapel of Talos are to the west, where the more upstanding citizens live. The Mages' Guild Hall is closer to the city gates. One might wonder where the Thieves' Guild hideout is. Maybe it's somewhere on this side of town, who knows? The docks might interest you if you want to sail away. That's also where the Imperial Navy command post at Fort Pelagius is.
I haven't seen that before.
What's brought you into the poor side of town? This is the poor side of town, pal. Aren't that many persons of note living here. Otribus Delagia, the loan shark, is the boss of Delagia's gang. The self-titled Captain Fentus and his crew frequent the Empress Catarrhia Inn. The Honorable Admiral Potamus Marilus can be found in Fort Pelagius down by the docks. They come to collect, I pay up. It's just the way things go around here.
The sun and moon is transformed day to night. What transforms the mind?
First time in Old Ebonheart, huh? That's cute. I'm Fialma. You could do with a friend who knows this part of town like the back of her hand. I keep my head down and my eyes and ears open, so I know many a little secret. And all the latest rumors, too. Yes, this is Old Ebonheart. Grandest city east of the Valius Mountains. I'll have you know. It's home to all sorts of noble folk up in the Ebon Tower and West Side. Lots of shopkeepers and tradesmen, too. Then there's the small folk like us, getting by on a quick septum. Keep it up if you really want to make me mad.
You're in Old Ebonheart, the inner sea's finest port. Need help finding your way around? Near the main gates are the Moth and Tiger Inn and the Mother Alessia Eatery. The Craftsman Street is cluttered with folk of all kinds of trades. There are the general merchants like the Fetcher's Pawn and Immersius's quality wares. Yesu Zedish Palit is an armorer and Eurolon forges weapons. The Perfect Quarrel is a marksman's choice. Warian Ilorius sells magical items, whereas Uwile is an enchanter. At Telltales they sell books. The Hostel of Stendar's Mercy offers imperial cult services. Much of what happens in the poor side of town is dictated by their leader, Otribus de Lagia. They own many of the buildings there and offer protection services to the shopkeepers and tenants, whatever that means. Be wary if you decide to loan money from the gang. I hear they cut off thumbs of those who fail to pay dues.
Yes, friend. If you're looking for the best tailored, best quality clothes, you've come to the right place.
Move on. Take me for a fool.
That's how we punish crimes in Morrowind. We collect fines, and compensation is paid to the injured party.
Move on.
I'll never get this stain out.
The Nine and the Empire, citizen.
Why swim when you can sail? Ha! What's your destination?
Listen, Outlander. Even natives get confused in the cantons. What are you looking for?
When King Marinean's alchemist had to leave his station after a laboratory experiment that yielded detonation, the word went out that the king did want a new servant to mix his potions and brews, but he declared he would only choose a fellow who knew the tricks and the tools. The king refused to hire on more fools. After much deliberation, discussion, and debates, the king picked two well-learned candidates. Lanthippus Minthurk and Umphatic Fair, an ambitious pair, vied to prove which one was the best. Said the king, "There will be a test." They went to a large chamber with herbs, gems, tomes, pots, measuring cups, all under high crystalline domes. "Make me a tonic that will make me invisible," laughed the king, in a tone some would call risible. So Umphatic Fair and Lanthippus Mintberk began to work, mincing herbs, mashing metal, refining strange oils, cautiously setting their cauldrons to burbling boils, each on his own, sending mixing bowls mixing, sometimes peeking to see what each other was fixing. After they had worked for nearly 3/4 of an hour, both Lanthippus Minthurk and Umphatic Fair winked at the other, certain he won. Said King Marinean, "Now you must taste the potions you've wrought. Take a spoon and sample it right from your pot." Minthurk vanished as his lips touched his brew, but Fair tasted his and remained apparent in view. "You think you mixed silver, blue diamonds, and yellow grass?" The king laughed. "Look up, Fair, up to the ceiling glass. The light falling makes the ingredients you choose quite different hues." "What do you get?" asked the floating voice.
I barter for goods or coin. I also have a small selection of spells for sale.
And gold.
You want a little advice?
God,
that's free. That's
his
all.
face in a wince. I've made a potion to fortify my own intelligence. Publisher's note. This poetry is so clearly in the style of Gorfelim that it really does not need any commentary. Note the simple rhyming scheme of AA, BBCC, the sing-song but purposefully clumsy meter, and the jokes at the obviously absurd names Umphatic Fair and Lanthippus Minthurk. The final joke that the stupid alchemist invents a potion to make himself smarter by pure accident would have appealed to the anti-intellectualism of audiences in the interregnum period, but would certainly be rejected by the Dwemer. Note that even Marabar Sul refused to name any Dwemer gods. The Dwemer religion, if it can even be called that, is one of the most complex and difficult puzzles of their culture. Over the millennia, the song became a popular tavern song in High Rock, before eventually disappearing from everything but scholarly books, much like the Dwemer themselves.
It just stood there, holding its tail and whispering. What did it say?
Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. Oh, my sweet love, she waits for me through storm and shine, cross land or sea. I run to her and together we sway as we kiss, sway as
I'm waiting.
her graceful shape I heave up high.
We rent beds. I have some goods for barter. What do you want?
I hold her tight.
I know the little fetcher's got a hiding place somewhere in
I barter for goods or coin. I also have a small selection of spells for sale.
You want a little advice? That's free. That's all that's free.
The taste of her remains, and in my mind I see us sway as we kiss, sway as we...
There's someone watching me. I can tell.
All the daydreams.
Akavir means Dragonland. Tamriel means Dawn's Beauty. Atmora means Elder Wood. Only the Red Guards know what Yokuda ever meant. Akavir is the kingdom of the beasts. No men or mer live in Akavir, though men once did. These men, however, were eaten long ago by the vampiric serpent folk of Tsayeshi. Had they not been eaten, these men would have eventually migrated to Tamriel. The Nords left Atmora for Tamriel. Before them, the elves had abandoned Aldmeris for Tamriel. The Red Guards destroyed Yokuda so they could make their journey. All men and mer know Tamriel is the nexus of creation, where the last war will happen, where the gods unmade Lorcan and left their adamantine tower of secrets. Who knows what the Akaviri think of Tamriel, but ask yourself, why have they tried to invade it 3 times or more? There are 4 major nations of Akavir: Kamal, Tsaeski, Tangmo, and Karpo Tun. When they are not busy trying to invade Tamriel, they are fighting with each other. Kamal is snow hell. Demons live there, armies of them. Every summer they thaw out and invade Tangmo, but the brave monkey folk always drive them away. Once Adasum Dir Kamal, a king among demons, attempted to conquer Morrowind, but Almalexia and the Underking destroyed him at Red Mountain. Tsayeshi is Snake Palace, once the strongest power in Akavir, before the Tiger Dragon came. The serpent folk ate all the men of Akavir a long time ago, but still kind of look like them. They are tall, beautiful, if frightening, covered in golden scales and immortal. They enslave the goblins of the surrounding isles, who provide labor and fresh blood. The holdings of Tsayeshi are widespread. When natives of Tamriel think of the Akaviri, they think of the serpent folk, because one ruled the Cyrodiilic Empire for 400 years in the previous era. He was potentate Versidue Shea, assassinated by the Morag Tong. Tangmo is the 1,000 Monkey Isles. There are many breeds of monkey folk, and they are all kind, brave, and simple, and many are also very crazy. They can raise armies when they must, for all of the other Akaviri nations have, at one time or another, tried to enslave them. They cannot decide who they hate more, the snakes or the demons, but ask one, and he will probably say, snakes. Though once bitter enemies, the monkey folk are now allies with the tiger folk of Karpo Tun. Karpo Tun is the tiger dragon's empire. The cat folk here are ruled by the divine Tosh Raka, the tiger dragon. They are now a very great empire, stronger than Tsaeski, though not at sea. After the serpent folk ate all the men, they tried to eat all the dragons. They managed to enslave the red dragons, but the black ones had fled to, then, Potun. A great war was raged, which left both the cats and the snakes weak, and the dragons all dead. Since that time the catfolk have tried to become the dragons. Tosh Raka is the first to succeed. He is the largest dragon in the world, orange and black, and he has very many new ideas. First, Tosh Raka says, is that we kill all the vampire snakes. Then the Tiger Dragon Emperor wants to invade Tamriel.
Begging your pardon, have you seen a bandit nearby? I must find him. Begging your pardon, have you seen a bandit nearby? I must find him. What's that? Oh, never mind the jewels. I just want to find the bandit again. He was charming and funny, and I simply must see him again. His name? Nalos. Nalos Onmar. A name that will stay on my lips for eternity. Please, I cannot live without knowing if he could ever love me. I have nothing to offer you in return, but could you not help me for the sake of love?
Wonder what he's up to.
The scent is new.
Don't stand about. You're in Pelagiad, Outlander, the village of Pelagiad. Is there a specific place you're looking for? Nalos Onmar. I've seen him around here. Quiet man, keeps to himself. Not too sure what he does, actually. Other folks might know more than I do, though. Might check in the tavern. They get all sorts of folks there. Don't try to butter me up.
Summoned by another.
Ever consider
Questions
joining the
again.
Legion?
Ah, you understand me a bit, yes? Hello. Yakum greet you. Bless and be blessed. Speak Old Elf. Yes. So Yakum learn. You know Ashlanders? Yes, a little. Yakum is Ashlander.
Life's an adventure. Run, run as fast as you dare. Sing, sing. Imagine the pleasure. Everything's fun. When you don't have a care.
Too much trouble. Must be going now.
Mean old torch bug full of tricks. His voice crackling like fire. Advice
It comes near. What does it want?
scrib into trouble dire. Play, play, life's an adventure. Run, run as fast as you dare. Sing, sing, imagine the pleasure. Everything's fun when you don't have a care.
Go ahead. You started this conversation. I'm Nalos. What do you want? You have... What? How? Odd. She was a lovely young woman. But what would she want with a rogue like me? She is beautiful, though, and seems sweet. For the first time in my life, I actually felt a little remorse for robbing someone. I should see her again. Here, take this. Tell her you have a note from Nalos. I must see her again. I won't forget this, friend.
Wild cliff racers spread their Too much wings trouble. so Must be broad, going now. and lesser birds bend their knees so awed. You snarl and hiss and spit and screech. I hear the guars grunting each to each. What a terror, what savage speech. Oh, to be like you. Your temper flares at the smallest offense. You snatch our guars and mangle our fence. You nest in our loft straight down on the wall.
What is this about, Imperial? I haven't seen you in Balmora before, have I? You have a question? Roads south lead to Pelagiad, Seydanin, and Vivek. Siltstrider service goes to Seydanin.
I don't have a lot of patience for questions, Outlander.
Are you here to discuss your orders? Or is there something else you want? Are you here to discuss your orders? First thing, Pilgrim, you're new, and you look it. Here's 200 drakes. Go get yourself a decent weapon, or armor, or a spell. And second thing, you need a cover identity. Around here, freelance adventurer is a common profession. Sign on with the Fighters Guild, or Mages Guild, or Imperial Cult, or Imperial Legion. Advance in the ranks, gain skill and experience, or go out on your own. Look for freelance work or trouble. Then when you're ready, come back, and I'll have orders for you. You can always just wander around and ask for work. Hunt monsters and sell their hides, collect ingredients for alchemists, prey on bandits and smugglers, search ruins for loot. All you need are better skills and conditioning, and knowledge of Morrowind. And spend what you earn on equipment and training. Then come back a little less wet behind the ears, and I won't have to worry so much about you when I send you out on a mission. To get to Hunter Ninetoes, leave my door facing south. Go right, down the steps, then turn left and head south, looking for his door on your left. Healer Tiermelon lives 2 houses south downstairs. I'm the Imperial Spy Master for Morrowind. And since I'm the ranking Blades agent in Morrowind, you report to me. You follow orders and we'll get along fine. I don't know much about the Ashlanders. Most people say they are murderous savages, but most people are idiots. I know they hate their settled Dunmer cousins almost as much as they hate Westerners. They must be tough to live in the Ashlands. I don't think Outlanders can become members of the tribes. I don't know why anyone would want to. A guild guide is a spellcaster of the Mages Guild, who provides magical transport for a small fee. You can only travel from one Mages Guild to another, but it is the fastest way to travel between Vivek, Balmora, Aldrun, Caldera, and Sadrith Mora. Are you...
I see you. Hello. I'm a blade too, and I report to Caius like you. You're welcome to use my bed to rest, but leave my other stuff alone, please. Yes, I offer training, but only to blades.
Greetings. I'm a blade too, and I report to Caius like you. You're welcome to use my bed to rest, but leave my other stuff alone, please. Yes, I offer training, but only to blades.
Make it quick, Cyrodiil.
I really can't help you, stranger.
Why walk when I can guide?
I heard something. Why walk when I can guide?
You will address me with respect.
The blue plates are nice, but
I hope this won't take long.
longer.
I haven't much time, so be quick about this.
Make it quick, Cyrodiil.
Keep walking.
I hope this won't take long.
Might be seen.
May I help you? I'm a blade too, and I report to Caius like you. You're welcome to use my bed to rest, but leave my other stuff alone, please.
Ever consider joining the Legion?
What is your business here?
Spit it out or hit the road.
This is Caldera, stranger. I guess you're new here. You got any questions? Looking for someone in particular here in Caldera? Caldera is an imperial charter town, part of the Caldera Mining Company Charter, which grants the company rights to mine ebony from the right deposits here. The Caldera ebony mines themselves lie to the southwest. The town has a real western flavor, makes outlanders feel right at home. Caldera is rich, and bound to get richer, since the profits from the ebony exports continue to grow as the mine operations grow. The Caldera ebony mines are southwest of the village of Caldera. There's an office, a bunkhouse, and guard tower over near the mine entrance. If you're thinking of taking a look while you're here, head straight west from town, then swing around south into the bowl of the mine through a gap in the mountains. Otherwise, you can try climbing straight over the ridge, but it is too steep a climb for most. The Caldera Mine Company is chartered by the Emperor to extract ebony ore from rich underground deposits here. Keep it up if you really want to make me mad.
What is your business here?
Not now. Go away.
I am busy, so if you will excuse me.
The legions could learn from the unconventional tactics used by the Khajiit in the 5 years' war against Valenwood. I was stationed at the Sphinxmouth Legion fort on the border near Dune and witnessed many of the northern skirmishes firsthand. The war started with the so-called Slaughter of Torval. The Khajiit claimed that the Bosmer invaded the city without provocation and killed over 1,000 citizens before being driven off by reinforcements from a nearby jungle tribe. The Bosmer claim that the attack was in retaliation for Khajiiti bandits who were attacking wood caravans headed for Valenwood. In the spring of Third Era, 396, the war moved closer to Fort Sphinxmouth. I was posted on lookout and saw parts of the conflict. I later spoke with both Khajiit and Bosmer who fought in the battle, and it will serve as an excellent example of how the Khajiit used a mixture of ground and tree units to win the war. The Khajiit began the fight in an unusual way by sending tree-cutting teams of Cathay-rat and the fearsome Sencherat, or battle cats, into the outskirts of Valenwood's forests. When word reached the Bosmer that trees were being felled, allegedly a crime in the strange Bosmeri religion, a unit of archers were dispatched from larger conflicts in the south. The Bosmer were thus goaded into splitting their forces into smaller groups. The Bosmer archers took up positions in the remaining trees, whose branches were now 20 or more feet apart, allowing some light into the forest floor. The Bosmer bent the remaining trees with their magics into small fortifications from which to fire their bows. When the tree cutters arrived the next morning, a half-dozen Khajiit fell to the Bosmer arrows in the first volley. After that, the Khajiit took large wooden shields from the backs of the Sencherat and made a crude shelter. The Khajiit, even the enormous Sencherat, were able to hide between this shelter and one of the larger trees. When it became apparent that the Khajiit would not leave their shelter, some Bosmer chose to descend and engage the Khajiit sword to claw. When the Bosmer were nearly upon the shelter, one of the Khajiit began playing on a native instrument of plucked metal bars. This was a signal of some kind, and a small group of the man-like Ohms and Ohms Rat emerged from covered holes on the forest floor. Although outnumbered, they were attacking from behind by surprise and won the ground quickly. The Bosmer archers in the trees would have still won the battle were they not having troubles of their own. A group of Dagi and Dagi Rat, two of the less common forms of Khajiit who live in the trees of the Tenmar forest, jumped from one tree to another under a magical cover of silence. They took up positions in the higher branches that could not hold a Bosmer's weight. When the signal came, they used their claws and either torches or spells of fire, accounts from the 2 survivors I spoke with vary on this point, to distract the archers while the battle on the ground took place. A few of the archers were able to flee, but most were killed. Apparently, the Dagi and Dagi Rat have more magical ability than is widely believed if they were able to keep themselves magically silenced for so long. One of the surviving Bosmer told me that he saw a few ordinary cats among the Dagi, and even claimed that these ordinary cats are known as Alfik, and that they were the spellcasters. But Bosmer are almost as unreliable as the Khajiit when it comes to the truth, and I cannot believe that a house cat can cast spells. At the end of the day, the Khajiit lost perhaps a half-dozen fighters out of force of no more than 4 dozen, while the Bosmer lost nearly an entire company of archers. The survivors were unable to report back before a second company of archers arrived, and this strategy was repeated again with similar results. Finally, a much larger force was sent, and the Bosmer won that battle with the help of the native animals of Valenwood. That third skirmish and the Khajiiti response I will discuss in the second volume of this series.
Go ahead, speak.
Are you here to discuss your orders? Or is there something else you want? Ready for orders? Good. Go talk to Haspat Antabolus at the Balmora Fighters Guild. Ask him what he knows about the Nerevarine secret cult and the Sixth House secret cult. You'll have to do him a favor first. Probably an ugly favor. But do it. Then get the information from Antabolus and report back to me. By the way, Haspat is a student of Morrowind history. Take the chance to get a little education. And I have a few history books in here. Help yourself. You're welcome to them. No point in being part of history if you're too ignorant to understand it.
From the introduction, led by the legendary prophet Veloth, the ancestors of the Dunmer, exiles from Altmer cultures in present-day Somerset Isle, came to the region of Morrowind. In earliest times, the Dunmer were harassed or dominated by Nord Sea raiders. When the scattered Dunmer tribes consolidated into the predecessors of the modern Great House clans, they threw out the Nord oppressors and successfully resisted further incursions. The ancient ancestor worship of the tribes was in time superseded by the monolithic tribunal temple theocracy, and the Dunmer grew into a great nation called Resdayn. Resdayn was the last of the provinces to submit to Tiber Septim. Like Black Marsh, it was never successfully invaded. It was peacefully incorporated by treaty into the Empire as the province of Morrowind.
We make a special trip
Almost
just for you.
4 centuries after the coming of the Imperial legions, Morrowind is still occupied by Imperial legions, with a figurehead Imperial king, though the Empire has reserved most functions of the traditional local government to the ruling councils of the 5 great houses on Vvardenfell district. In 3E414, Vvardenfell territory, previously a temple preserved under imperial protection and ordinator laws, was reorganized as an imperial provincial district. Vvardenfell had been maintained as a preserve administrated by the temple since the Treaty of the Armistice, and except for a few great house settlements sanctioned by the temple, Vvardenfell was previously uninhabited and undeveloped. But when the centuries-old temple ban on trade and settlement of Vvardenfell was revoked by King of Morrowind, a flood of imperial colonists and Great House Dunmer came to Vvardenfell, expanding old settlements and building new ones. The new district was divided into Redoran, Hlalu, Telvanni, and Temple districts, each separately administered by local house councils or temple priesthoods, and all under the advice and consent of Duke Dren and the district council in Ebonheart. Local law became a mixture of house law and imperial law in house districts, jointly enforced by house guards and legion guards, with temple law and imperial law enforced in the temple district by ordinators. The temple was still recognized as the majority religion, but worship of the 9 divines was protected by the legions and encouraged by imperial cult missions. The temple district included the city of Vivec City, the fortress of Ghostgate, and all sacred and profane sites, including those blighted areas inside the Ghost Fence, and all unsettled and wilderness areas on Vvardenfell. In practice, this district included all parts of Vvardenfell not claimed for Redoran, Hlalu, or Telvanni districts. The temples stubbornly fought all development in their district and were largely successful. House Hlalu, in combination with imperial colonists, embarked on a vigorous campaign of settlement and development. In the decades after reorganization, Balmora and the Ascadian Isles regions have grown steadily. Caldera and Pelagiad are completely new settlements, and all legion forts were expanded to accommodate larger garrisons. House Telvanni, normally conservative and isolationist, has been surprisingly aggressive in expanding beyond their traditional tower villages. Disregarding the protests of the other houses, the temple, the duke, and the district council, Telvanni pioneers have been encroaching on the wild lands reserved to the temple. The Telvanni Council officially disavows responsibility for these rogue Telvanni settlements, but it is an open secret that they are encouraged and supported by ambitious Telvanni mage lords. Under pressure from the temple, conservative House Redoran has steadfastly resisted expansion in their district. As a result, House Redoran and the temple are in danger of being politically and economically marginalized by the more aggressive and expansionist Shlalu and Telvanni interests. The imperial administration faces many challenges in the Vvardenfell district, but the most serious are the great house rivalries, animosity from the Ashlanders nomads, internal conflicts within the temple itself, and the Red Mountain Blight. Struggles between Great House, Temple, and Imperial interests to control Vvardenfell's resource could at any time erupt into full-scale war. Ashlanders raid settlements, plunder caravans, and kill foreigners on their wild lands. The Temple has unsuccessfully attempted to silence criticism and calls for reform within its ranks. But most serious are the plagues and diseased hosts produced by the blight storms sweeping out from Red Mountain. Vvardenfell and all Morrowind have long been menaced by the legendary evils of Dagoth-Ur and his ash vampire kin dwelling beneath Red Mountain. For centuries the temple has contained this threat within the Ghost Fence, but recently the temple's resources and will have faltered, and the threat from Red Mountain has grown in scale and intensity. If the Ghost Fence should fail, and hosts of blighted monsters were to spill out across Vvardenfell's towns and villages, the Empire might have no choice but to evacuate Vvardenfell district and abandon it to disease and corruption.
Make it quick, Cyrodiil.
I must find that bandit. I believe he's in Pelagiad. Perhaps he'll come back to find me. I must find that bandit. I believe he's in Pelagiad. He gave you a letter to give to me? Wonderful. Thank you so. I knew that he cared. You know, you didn't have to do all of this for me, and I really appreciate it. You're clearly a wonderful person. You should visit my friend Emuzet Brak in Tel Arun. She's a wonderful person, and I think the two of you would get along famously. I don't care about them at all anymore.
Say what you want or go away.
Is it necessary that you speak with me?
Nords consider themselves to be the children of the sky.
Good day. So you're with Caius, eh? And Caius wants information? Of course, there's a this for that involved.
Go ahead.
Good day. There are Dwemer ruins nearby called Arkenthand. I need you to run over there and find me a little cube with a circular design and some symbols on one side. It's called a Dwemer puzzle box. Bring me back the Dwemer puzzle box, and I'll tell you what you want to know. The old Dwemer ruins at Arkenthand are extensive on the surface and underground. Head south out of town past the Siltstrider port, then cross bridges east over the Odai River. At the signpost, head north towards Caldera. Immediately on the right, see a signpost for Molag Mar. Turn right and head uphill on an old road to cross an ancient Dwemer bridge over Foyada Mamea. The entrance to Arkenthand is on the east side of the Foyada, south of the bridge. Turn a crank on a pipe nearby to open the doors. The little cube I'm looking for is about the size of a fist, maybe a little bigger. It will be made of a coppery metal with a circular design and symbols on one side and some lined marks on the other sides. That's all I want, that little cube. I won't bore you blathering about history, that's what Caius is for. But if you're really interested, try On Morrowind, the Imperial Province, by Eramanwe of Sunhold. I have an extra copy you can have. What an adventurer like you really needs is a sense of current events. Who hates who? Where's trouble brewing? That's where opportunity lies for an outlander like you. The great houses hate each other. Theft, murder, assassination, secret raids, standard stuff. The temple is trying to kill off a rebellious faction called the Dissident Priests. Ashlander nomads raid each other, attack traders and pilgrims. A secret cult is killing off imperial citizens, all bad enough. The real problem, though, is the Blight. monsters, and diseases. The natives say it comes from Red Mountain. It's been a local problem for years, but lately it's gotten badly out of control. The disappearance of the dwarves predates imperial written records. Dunmer oral accounts record that the Dwemer were utterly destroyed by the gods for profane practices and impiety. Dwarven ruins are scattered across Tamriel, and weapons, armor, housewares, coins, and other items of Dwemer design are often found, but the circumstances surrounding the disappearance of the dwarves remains one of Tamriel's greatest mysteries.
After the conquest of Hammerfell, Imperial legions massed along the northeastern borders of Cyrodiil, and invasion fleets prepared in Skyrim. Initially, though the Imperial legions and navy were widely considered undefeatable, House Indoril and the Temple hierarchy proposed to resist to the death. Redoran and Dres stood by Indoril, with Telvanni remaining neutral. Hlalu proposed accommodation. Contrived border incidents in Black Marsh ended inconclusively, but the swampy terrain did not favor legion and navy coordination. Against the legions massed west of Silgrad Tower and Kragenmoor, and the legions west of Blacklight and Cormoris View, Morrowind had pitifully small militias stiffened by small companies of Redoran mercenaries and elite units of house nobles and temple ordinators and armigers. Further complicating matters was the refusal of Indoril, Dres, Hlalu, and Telvanni to garrison the western borders. Indoril and Dres proposed, rather than defend the western border, instead to withdraw to the interior and fight a guerrilla war. With Hlalu advocating accommodation and Telvanni remaining neutral, Redoran therefore faced the prospect of standing alone against the Empire. The situation changed radically when Vivek appeared in person in Vivek City to announce his negotiation of a treaty with Emperor Tiber Septim, reorganizing Morrowind as a province of the Empire, but guaranteeing all rights of faith and self-government. A shocked temple hierarchy, which apparently had not been consulted, greeted the announcement with awkward silence. Indoril swore they would resist to the death, with the loyal support of Dres, while Redoran, grateful for a graceful excuse to avoid facing the legions unsupported, joined with Hlalu in welcoming the agreement. Telvanni, seeing which way the wind blew, joined with Hlalu and Redoran in supporting the treaty. Nothing is known of the circumstances of the personal meeting between Septim and Vivek, or where it took place, or the preliminaries which must have preceded the treaty. The public reason was to protect the identities of the agents involved. In the West, speculation has centered around the role of Zurin Arctus in brokering the agreement. In the East, rumors suggest that Vivek offered Numidium to aid in the conquest of the Altmer and Somerset Isle in return for significant concessions to preserve self-rule, house traditions, and religious practices in Morrowind. The Lord High Counselor of the Grand Council, an Indoril, refused to accept the treaty and refused to step down. He was assassinated and replaced by a Hlalu. House Hlalu took the opportunity to settle some old scores with House Indoril, and a number of local councils changed hands in bloody coups. More blood was shed in these inter-house struggles than against the Imperial legions during Morrowind's transition from an independent nation to a province of the Empire. The generals of the legions had dreaded an invasion of Morrowind. The Dunmer were widely regarded as the most dreadful and fanatic foes, further inspired by their temple and clan traditions. The generals had not grasped the political weaknesses of Morrowind, which Emperor Tiber Septim recognized and exploited. At the same time, given the tragic depopulation and destruction experienced by the other provinces conquered by Septim, and the swift and efficient assimilation of Morrowind into the imperial legal systems and economy, with relatively small impact on lower or upper classes of Morrowind's citizens, the tribunal also deserves some credit for recognizing the hopelessness of Morrowind's defense and the chance of gaining important concessions at the treaty table by being the first to offer peace. By contrast, Many indaural nobles chose to commit suicide rather than submit to the empire, with the result that the house was significantly weakened during the period of transition, guaranteeing that they would lose much of their influence and power to House Hlalu, whose influence and power was waxing with its enthusiastic accommodation with the empire. The temple hierarchy more skillfully managed their loss of face, remaining aloof from political struggles and earning the goodwill of the people by concentrating on their economic, educational, and spiritual welfare.